Over the years, you may have noticed there's a reoccurring side character I talk about on my channel from time to time. Someone who is by all possible definitions a hero, a very, very important presence in this country. And unfortunately, the only time his name is invoked is when there are some villains looking to murder him. Literally slit his throat on the street and spill his blood to our dismay. This is a hero that every normal person should be celebrating. It's like Moomin Rider from One Punch Man. Might not be the star of the show everyone's talking about, but it's someone that everyone should support, except for the bad guys. This character's name is Section 230. I got a little lost in the sauce with this introduction here. Section 230 is an extremely important piece of legislation that's been around for coming up on 30, well actually exactly 30 years, 1996. Wow. That really put in perspective how old I'm getting, because I'm 1994. I am older than Section 230, holy shit. But point is, outside of my bones turning to dust and everything, Section 230 is still young and spry and extremely important for the current landscape of the internet, and was a fundamental building block that allowed the internet to bloom in the first place. It's extremely simple. Even if you're hitting whippets right now, you'll still be able to comprehend what it's saying.
That's a great joke.
No provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. Now, why am I bringing this up now? Well, it's because there seems to be a pretty big push to dismantle Section 230. Actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt actually just made a pretty strong statement in condemnation of Section 230 and how things desperately need to change to save ourselves.
I understand what Section 230 did to bring about the birth.
Oh, Jesus, sorry, I was too busy sneezing. We're watching this
To
again.
bloom in the first place. It's extremely simple. Even if you're hitting whippets right now, you'll still be able to comprehend what it's saying. No provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. Now, why am I bringing this up now? Well, it's because there seems to be a pretty big push to dismantle Section 230. Actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt actually just made a pretty strong statement in condemnation of Section 230 and how things desperately need to change to save ourselves.
Dude, Levitt is a dick? What the fuck?
I understand what Section 230 did to bring about the birth of the internet. That was 30 years ago.
You know what else was 30 years ago, Joseph? Your last good movie, dweeb. So even though it was 30 years ago, it is just as important today as it was then. Now, over the years, I'm sure a lot of you have heard me yap about Section 230 a handful of times because the people in power are trying to kill this fucking thing more often than Kenny in South Park. They hate Section 230. When Democrats were in charge, it caught a lot of scrutiny, claiming that it was enabling the spread of racism and harming children. With Republicans in power, they're claiming that it's spreading misinformation and anti-Semitism. This is a bipartisan punching bag that they desperately want to just beat down. It's just been thorn in the side of people that want to control your speech pretty much since its inception. Since the advent of the internet, Section 230 has been a target for people that want to control your speech and infringe on your First Amendment rights, and dismantling Section 230 would fundamentally change the internet as you know it, and that's not an exaggeration to say it. To put it even more simply, Section 230 allows goobers like me to post whatever they want, saying whatever they want, and the platform itself is not liable for whatever I've made or said.
Section 230 is a provision of U.S. law that gives online platforms broad immunity from liability for most content posted by their users. It says that no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of information provided by another content provider, which generally prevents platforms from being sued over user-generated posts like comments, reviews, or social media updates. It also includes a Good Samaritan clause that protects platforms when they, in good faith, remove or moderate content they consider obscene, violent, or otherwise objectionable. These projections do not apply to federal criminal law, intellectual property claims, or certain sex trafficking laws. So basically, it's a law that stops the government or private individuals from suing entire corporate conglomerates over what is being posted on their platforms, which then allows for greater freedom of speech on said platforms, because if the platforms are financially incentivized to stop any kind of dissenting thoughts to be shared on said platform, they would be themselves legally liable. So if this is removed, potentially worst case scenario is these platforms then basically, which is impossible by the way, completely depoliticize their platform, okay? Completely bar you from sharing an opinion on anything except whether you prefer pineapples and pizza or pepperoni, or both at the same time. Which, by the way, don't get me wrong, that is also a political question. Where do the pineapples come from? Where does pepperoni come from? Why is Hawaii supposed to be seen as less important to the world's cuisine than that of Italia? Etc., etc. Just a simple example. But that's the contextualization. And they want to remove that. You see this gun right here? See that gun right there? This is how I pay for the food in my mouth. And I protect how I eat and how I can work for my cause very adamantly, only using my words, of course. So that if they come for my shit, I will be very sad and very broke. No, jokes aside. What the fuck, dude? That would be insane. That would actually be like, that I don't believe will happen. That's even though there are pedophile billionaires in cahoots with most of the world's political and financial elites. We now know this. Okay, we now know this. Even in that world, I don't think they can do this. I don't think they can. This would actually lead to the burning down of the White House. They cannot do this. Facebook already doesn't have any political content in Canada. Yeah, and that's why nobody except your grandma uses Facebook.
On me, personally, the platform isn't going to be, fucking dragged through the streets with legs spread like a goddamn Thanksgiving turkey for it and getting blasted by lawsuits or whatever. Now, of course, there are limitations in place when it comes to illegal content, things that actually break the law. That is, of course, a very different set of circumstances. That's a different can of worms, and that's handled differently. But it should be obvious why Section 230 is so important, because if these platforms were held liable for every single thing people post on their platforms, they would get into a lot of hot water and they would just not allow people to post things. Full stop, because it would be too dangerous to do so. They would need to micromanage and control every single thing that hits the platform in order to protect themselves. No matter how you spin it, this would ruin the internet. It's a pile of dog shit no matter how much perfume gets sprayed on it or how they want to repackage it.
This law helps, what's up, Orgonia? Helps these corporations protect their asset. It has capital interest. It does, but I don't even know if there is interest in this by large capital. This is more of a, I feel like more of a political move, mostly to protect, Zionism at the end of the day. But also, one could argue, even the capitalist status quo. Because most platforms make money from this back and forth discourse, okay? Let's talk about Elon Musk's platform, right? It almost entirely makes money off of hot take versus hot take. If X.com would be liable for hot takes, that would not be in line with their potential, capital gains. So, internet users, pretty much everyone. Content creators, a very sizable number of people, but almost invisible in compared to content creation platforms, would all be against this. It's a very strange kind of class collaborationist opposition. To a case like this. So it would be pretty insane if this passes. I don't see how this can pass. Large capital doesn't want this to pass, and it is it's going to be absurdly unpopular amongst the everyday people. I don't see this passing. I don't see this pass. I don't see that would be crazy.
It still stinks. This would affect literally every platform that has anything user submitted in any capacity at all.
And I also understand how the internet has changed since then. Because back then,
Why the fuck is this guy like putting his foot down on this shit? What the fuck?
and message boards and other websites with user-generated content, they really were more like telephone carriers. They were neutral platforms. But that's not how things work anymore. Today, the internet is dominated by a small handful of these gigantic businesses that are not at all neutral.
So nothing's changed. Brother, wake up! Stop sipping the stupid potion. These mega corporations, these platforms, they've never been neutral. Just because you want to delude yourself into fantasy land thinking that it used to be neutral just because you didn't want to pay attention doesn't mean that's the actual truth of the matter. They've never been neutral.
But instead, algorithms
Why is this guy doing this? Is he in the files, bro? That's the only reason I can think of. Is my guy in the files?
rhythmically amplify whatever gets the most attention and maximizes ad revenue. And we know what happens when we let these engagement optimization algorithms be the lens that we see the world through. We get a mental health crisis, especially amongst young people. We get a rise in extremism and a rise in conspiracy theories. And then, of course, we get these echo chambers. These algorithms, they amplify the demonization of the other side so badly that we can't even have a civil conversation. It seems like we can't.
We're really back to this one. We're back to internet bad. Oh God. Remember all of human history where we didn't like hate each other before the internet? You guys remember that? You remember when we were all like really civil with each other before the internet? Remember like peace in the world? We were all holding hands and singing Kumbaya. My man, extremism is rising. Polarity is rising. Dehumanization of the other is rising. Because we fucking starving, bro. Because we see that this thing that we're in is no longer working for us. And then some people like myself say it's the system. Other people say it's ethnicity, race, or whatever the fuck. And then we battle it out. We battle it out on the internet. We battle it out on the streets. We battle it out in political organizations. We battle it out on message boards. The reason they want to remove us from the message boards, from content creating platforms, etc., is very simple. It's the story as old as time, and it's fucking cliche for me to even mention it. And that's that once you feel a particular kind of media negatively impacting your bottom line, you want to cut off its head. And they got very scared when people were seeing their genocide in Palestine. And they want to cut off that head. That's it.
Agree on anything.
These are the same talking points.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna all start agreeing. You know what happens when people now I'm not even doing socialist analysis or whatever the fuck, class conscious bullshit. You know what happens when people don't have a vent as large as the internet? They pick shit like this up. One could even argue that the great pacifier of our time has been the internet. That when you dunk on a chud online or on a sissy leftist online, that satisfies to a particular extent your need to fight your ideological enemy. And if that pacifier is removed like it is from a baby, we'll be screaming and throwing tantrums, not online, in spaces safe and far removed of the political enemy, but on the motherfucking street. So you know what? You really want that fight, bruv? You really want to go there, bro? You really want to go there, bro? You want to remove, okay, wine and circuses. They want to remove our circus. Well, good luck, man. Good luck with that one.
Points I've heard for over a decade now, and I'm sure many of you are exhausted of hearing them as well. This is the textbook yap. And now I know I said Joseph was drinking
As Doof says, go there, bruv. Absolutely, Doof.
the dummy potion earlier.
They want to take the opium out of the masses. You know, what was it? Like, you know, Marx said religion is the opium of the masses. Zizek said literal opium is the opium of the masses. I say the internet is the ultimate opium of the masses. It camouflages actual political action with posting. And I know that's ironic for a guy who does posting for a living, but I'm a little bit different with all due respect. So are a lot of my comrades. A lot of my comrades are not. Because we use these platforms to hopefully at least one person a month. And a lot of people have come to me and told me how impactful me, my other boys, etc., my multiple platforms were on them actually growing out and touching grass and actually organizing. We are co-opting the circus. Hopefully, I have to hope in this. Co-opting the circus in order to help our cause. But 99.9% of it is just circuses and wine and everything else. The opium. And then you wanna detach motherfuckers from that, from their ability to vent online. They want to go there. Nobody wants this. This cannot physically pass. This cannot physically pass. They're insane if they do this. Fuck my bottom line. Sure, I'll go back to fucking corporate. Make more than I do here. No, do this. I will not have corporate to go back because that building is probably going to be burned down. Like, oh, yeah. There's no way this passes. There's no way. If TikTok existed in 2001, Osama bin Laden would procrastinate 9/11. It wouldn't happen. That was funny. Sorry, I needed to process that one. Osama bin Laden would have a TikTok account. and like nose piercing and an alternative haircut. Ray, sir, thank you for your prime, my man. I really appreciate it. Nah, bro, I had a hard drive full of anime and games, but still locked in. Oh. They, them, bin Laden would be OP. Oh. They, them, bin Laden would be OP. Dude. That's a nasty one, bro. Oh. They called him the they them bin Laden. Who could we use that nickname for? Do we have a they them comrade that we can call a they them bin Laden? Death to America because they are ableist. A brand new sentence alert. Yes, I don't think that's ever been said before. I don't think they, them, bin Laden has ever been said before. Uh, I mean, you can have it. That's a great Twitter name. They Them Bin Laden is an insane Twitter name. They called them the They Them Bin Laden. Nothing could stop them. Ah, kurwa.
But the truth of the matter is, he's shilling.
There's 10 original sentences left in the world from 11 until 10 minutes ago.
There are people that are paying a lot of money to try and plant this idea.
So yeah, okay, my pitch for subscriptions that was very like my grift segment, which was very like ethical and chill, was not followed through except by Race here. I need to do a different one. I'll think on it.
In your brain that Section 230 is a bad thing. It only leads to things like extremism and conspiracy theories and demonization and that kind of thing. That's not true. Anyone who stops and thinks about this for even just a moment, firing on a few neurons, should be able to recognize how outrageous this proposal is. How would shutting down conversation...
Now, jokes aside, sorry for shushing you, penguins. What the fuck? Why am I talking to my screen? Wait, that's my entire job? Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Midlife crisis coming. Oh! Okay, now I'm really fucking spiraling. Okay, but even if we take our leftist hat off, we live in a society. Whoa. And in that society, people don't like each other and they throw shit at each other. And they always will. And when we have the internet, we throw shit at each other. And and the algorithm that we have online, sure, amplifies the amount of shit that we can throw at each other. But it is nonetheless still in the digital space. And it does not directly replicate the literal shit hitting your face. So while it might be 10 times as intense online than it would be in real life, the direct impact still remains relatively the same. Okay? So that's it. If you don't want polarization, if you don't want extremism, if you don't want algorithms optimizing for that, now we're just talking in the market economy, in capitalism, maybe you should create an environment in which that does not generate the largest number of conversations. And that will be very difficult to do for the Homo sapiens because that's not how we work. We love replying very intensely to something that we disagree with, but it would lower the tension if we didn't have so many things that we disagree on. How do we lower the number of things that we disagree on? By creating a system in which both sides, yes, I'm going to both side this, by creating a system in which we're forming out of a system or whatever, again, I'm having my lib hat on, in which both sides are not that de-incentivized by the system for supporting it and really want to see something different, hence the direct participation in ideological warfare, opinion warfare, the hot take-a-thon. And that's it. So, the amount of crazy fighting that you see online, you would just see on the streets and in cafes and in bars. It's not a problem of the internet. It's a problem of the human condition. And it spikes in times of great crisis because people aren't happy and people are fucking venting and looking for alternatives. That's it. Mind if a white boy lives out for a sec? What do you mean, Hugo being a leftist online means always taking the most reactionary maximalist position and not accepting dissension? Yeah. Also, you're never able to look at things from like a quote-unquote normie perspective. I'm supposed to scream MLM at you right now. Put on an Ushanka and like
and shutting down the ability to express thoughts and opinions somehow help combat the rise of extremism and conspiracy. Would shutting down conversation and shutting down the ability to express thoughts and opinions somehow help combat the rise of extremism and conspiracies. That would only exacerbate the problem. Censorship doesn't solve these issues. It makes them worse. This is a tool utilized by people that want to control your thoughts and also be able to feed you any narratives they want to spin. Like right now, if there is a publication that puts out just a bunch of phony baloney nonsense, tons of people can call it out. And you, as just a normal, average Joe Schmo, can see like, oh, maybe this isn't a trustworthy source. But if you take away all those other voices and you only have this heavily curated, approved source that puts this information...
Yes, absolutely. It's step 2 of, specifically in the United States of America, it's step 2 of the demonization of educational institutions. AKA, Herder, your school wants to make them into a communist. Their schools are political. They are pushing DEI on our kids. They say white is not right. No. You should just educate kids in your own home so that you can continue generation upon generation upon generation of not only trauma being passed down, but also reactionary sentiment by limiting actual exposure to alternative information, right? The next step is doing the same thing to potential, let's say, out-of-school educators that are dropping their hot takes online. And not just the educators, not just the content creators, but the people that post under said videos, and as he said very eloquently, sometimes question what is being said in that piece of content. This is what you want. This is what you do when you're just concentrating power in the center. And yes, the left can do that as well, and the right can do that as well, but it's coming out of the United States, so we see, we know very well where the power is concentrated there, and it's large capital that wants to continue the system as it is, that is trying to minimize the potential spillover, aka minimize the potential development of class consciousness in the youth, in the youths as much as possible. That's it. Reading is woke and gay. It is. The state can't be allowed to indoctrinate my goddamn kids. It's my job to indoctrinate my Kurds. Kurds? Kids. My kids are Kurds.
That is incorrect. You have no recourse. You have no way of knowing that something is wrong. It's a big problem. It makes you worse off. And this is not some far-fetched example. Platforms would not allow just completely unfiltered usage of normal people expressing their thoughts because those thoughts might go against the official narrative from the curated source. And then the curated source might go after the platform saying, this is defamatory. These people have just said something hosted on your platform, and we're...
Final stab, not final, but final stab at Gamba. I'm putting it at 3,200. If somebody donates 32 subs, we will be able to spin on those 32 subs. There you go. I can't be nicer than this. I cannot be nicer than this.
Coming after you with lawsuits, so they just wouldn't allow it.
Charles is getting radicalized. We have been seeing patterns for a while now. It's quite nice, I must say.
To extend this even bigger, Netanyahu has publicly, proudly stated that one thing he believes Israel needs to focus on is controlling platforms like TikTok. He has said this because he wants to better control the narrative around Israel because, well, a lot of people aren't huge Israel fans these days, if you can believe.
What do you mean? I am #1 Israel fan. Can I have money?
So he wants to control the conversation about Israel through being able to control how it's talked about on TikTok, which obviously would mean anyone that wants to start talking about Palestine and the atrocities and the genocide in Palestine would be muzzled because, well, that would now be something that TikTok would be liable for, and they don't want to take the chance anymore. Section 230 is extremely valuable in free speech.
And yet, one of the only things that the American public seems to agree broadly on right now, left, right, and center, Republicans, Democrats, independents, we all agree that we don't trust these big tech businesses and we don't like the influence they're...
That's why we low-key should give them more power over... No, therefore we should stimulate big tech and big business to censor their platforms even more than they do now. Man, we really showed them goddamn corporations by telling them we will sue them and give them fines if they let people on their platforms say what they think. So he's kind of correct, though. Everybody, left, right, and center, does agree on this one. Guys, we have finally found the brown-red alliance. Let us have a proud Aryan handshake with our enemies. We do not want to censor the entirety of the internet. Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
Having on our lives and the lives
Hemorrhoid poop. Oh, yeah.
of our kids. Well, if we want to do something about that, the right
Thank you, Transsexual Menace. That's a great fucking name.
first step is to sunset Section 230. It's not going to solve everything, but it is the right first step.
It is indeed the right first step for these corporations and political vampires. It would create a society of thoughtless sheep that would be perpetually silenced and censored. That's what would happen with Section 230 no longer being applicable if they did just get rid of it. It's ridiculous, and of course you knew they were going to dust off the tried and true tactic of think of the children. Any time that this kind of topic is brought up, that is undoubtedly going to show up. Children being poisoned by social media. I hope you're sitting down because there's going to be a shocking statement here. There's a brave take. Be a parent. Kids shouldn't be on social media in the first place. They shouldn't have unmonitored access to the internet to begin with. Be a parent. It is not the internet's job to cater to your lack of parenting by just letting your kid online. Fucking lazy, trash-ass parents just sit a kid in front of a computer or an iPad and then are stunned when apparently they find bad shit. Be a parent. Be involved in your kid's life. Raise your children. Don't make it the internet's job to do that for you. This is something I've said for over a decade now, and it keeps coming up. It's unbelievable that some people still think that this is some kind of slam dunk and like a good job.
And low-key, it doesn't work anymore because all the parents now have also grown up on the internet. So, like, who are you pitching this to? Fucking 70-year-olds? Aren't you streaming this on the internet? Trying to talk to 70-year-olds? What the fuck? Imagine pitching people that have never used the internet Article 230. Which is going to, if we remove it, limit comments and posts on the internet. It will like, posts on the internet? What do you mean posts on the internet? It's like a post-it note that people like put on the internet? Is it like when I put like post-its on my goddamn desktop to remind me that I should go take a leak every 20 seconds because my dick feels like SpongeBob SquarePants?
Justification for getting rid of Section 230. It's so concerning. And going even deeper here, they keep saying that this rolling back of liability protection for tech companies would help enforce real accountability. By the way, how about real accountability for bad parents that just let their kids online? He then pointed to the Kids Online Safety Act, KOSA, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Something needs to change. Big tech needs to be incentivized to protect kids online, and if they don't, they should be held civilly liable. Sunsetting Section 230 won't destroy the internet, and nothing we are proposing will impact our First Amendment rights, said Bridget Noring, whose son Devin died by fentanyl poisoning after connecting with a drug dealer on a photo messaging service Snapchat. What it will do is end blanket immunity without responsibility for tech companies. That is tragic, and I'm very sorry to hear about the loss of her son. However, what she is saying absolutely would destroy the internet.
Yes, and I can't believe I'm going to defend a corporation, but like, what the fuck does that have to do with Snapchat? Will we sue like phone companies if it was done via phone, the deal? I mean, I really don't want to be insensitive. That's fucked up, but like, what?
This has been a conversation that's been had for decades. You can go and look at all of the data and why this hasn't happened before in the past, because there has been enough sense from people to shoot it down eventually, even though it does sometimes make it kind of deep through the motions. Eventually it has been getting shot down because of how important these freedoms are and how it does impact First Amendment rights in a lot of cases. Also, that statement about ending blanket immunity for these companies, that's not really going to be the end result of 230 being destroyed. And also, there's not really a blanket immunity in general for everything either, because, again, illegal content is still not allowed. Notably, on Twitter, like a month or two ago, there was a huge issue where users were using Grok to undress children in photographs. They were taking photos of children and asking Grok to take their clothes off. So they were spreading child porn throughout Twitter. That is highly illegal. That is a horrible thing. And that is something that is not protected. Now, I know I've been yapping about this for a while, and I've made quite a few videos yapping about Section 230 in general because it's something that
I
continues.
only do drugs by carrier pigeon. Yeah. I only contribute to the ever polarizing society, which is my beautiful state of Nebraska, United States, by sending those dirty right-wing chuds messages by pigeon. I am sure that if we ban pigeon messages, our increasingly polarized society would balance the fuck out, and we would all love each other. Because I don't have access to pigeon messages. Oh, pičku materinu. Ban the concept of language. Language. No more language. You no speako. You no speako to me. I speak it to you. I want to shit on the table.
To be targeted. It is something that if you don't
Is this a return to monkey argument?
know about it, you should know how important it is that it remain. It should not be something that is just fucking destroyed and abandoned. So don't fall for like the brainwashing here that Section 230 bad. That's just not true. Anyway, just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's it. Yep.
So a lot of you might know Joseph Gordon-Levitt from movies like 500 Days of Summer and Looper, Inception. He's been in a lot of...
I remember him from that movie about porn and romantic films and how it changes our perspective on real sex and real romantic relationships based on the way that we consume content. I don't know. I found it relatively interesting.
Pretty great stuff, actually, over the years. He's pretty famous. He's kind of also just like...
Oh la la. Yeah, is that what it was called? Yeah, I found it interesting. Especially I was younger and I was like, oh, damn. Okay. He was also Snowden. Yeah.
a popular guy in Hollywood. He's known as a progressive. He's a popular guy. Like, this is an actor that if you ask me how I felt
It's a
about
popular
Joseph
guy.
Gordon,
It's a popular... Why am I doing the accent thing? Popular
love
guy.
it.
Subscriber are going to keep doing the accent.
Probably, you know, a day
Subscriber,
ago,
I'm going to keep doing
I
his
would have
accent.
said he seems like a fine guy. Seems like a
Fine gentleman.
He's an actor in Hollywood. I think
He's a
actually
good
in this picture,
gentleman while he's having opinions on like extremely niche things, yes. Why are you having the opinions on the extremely niche things, yes? Subscribe or I will talk like this forever. And everybody like doesn't subscribe, just leaves the stream.
he's wearing one of these little
He was
pins
in the Dark Knight. He was the slightly less Dark Knight. He was the White Knight.
for Palestine, right? So like progressive seeming guy, one would think. Well, now Joseph Gordon-Levitt has gone on a win. He's an actor in Hollywood. I think actually in this picture he's wearing one of these little pins for Palestine, right? So like progressive seeming guy, one would think. Well, now Joseph Gordon-Levitt has gone on
He supports the Palestine. I like it.
an absolutely unhinged pivot, promoting mass censorship and surveillance laws that will enable ICE and other government entities to track absolutely everything that you do and see online. He is supporting the Heritage Foundation's tech policy.
The way you wrote that, Gabriel, just shows your age in all the best ways. Like, that's why you're the golden generation. Like most of Hollywood types, they're not very bright. Like most of Hollywood types. The only way you could make that better is like most Hollywood types, without the off. Like most Hollywood types, they're not very bright. That's like,
The initiative to dismantle Section 230. This is also an initiative pushed by Moms for Liberty and a bunch of super religious fundamentalist right-wing groups that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is suddenly aligned himself with. He was on Capitol Hill yesterday talking about why we need to hold big tech accountable. Not something that he wants to do, by the way. They always lie with this stuff. It's like everything that you see Congress saying, just know that it's the exact opposite. Like when they're like, we're passing the Protect Americans Patriot Act. Guess what? It doesn't do any of that.
Protect Americans, big truck, big flag, beautiful eagle act. Thank you, Random Failure. Welcome to the community. Thank you very much for using your Prime on my ass. On me, not my ass. Oh my God, what the fuck did I say? On me. Thank you for using your Prime on me.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, this actor, decided to get up in front of Congress and go on this spiel about Section 230. Now, I have an entire series about Section 230 coming out next week, but Section 230 is the most important law on the internet. It is basically the First Amendment for the internet. Okay? It protects users' right to free speech online. It protects platforms' ability.
Hot take. I finally figured it out. This might... Now I'm going to sound insane. I'm going to lose listeners. Is this an op? Because nobody's going to support this. Nobody's going to support this, but this is going to start a lot of conversations. Is this an op because of the files? It smells like an op. We're going to destroy the entirety of the internet. Here's a famous actor. He's going to say it. Large corporations don't want this. The public doesn't want this. Fucking nobody wants this. And of course, we're all going to start paying attention to it and talking about it. I am right now. Is this an op? I don't know that is a hot take, to be honest, right? It could, but also I don't think he's that important. No, it's not just like that's the point, like getting him out. And what he's saying is big. Is this an op? It looks like an op. It smells like an op. It's completely irrational. The only thing that is going to bring to the front is like us screeching about it, which we already are. Maybe I'm convinced that Trump's racist Obama post was an op. 100%. 1,000,000% that was an op. That is for sure an op. I think this is an op. This is an op. Fuck it. No, I'm putting it down. Yeah. Nobody is going to push this. Nobody wants this. The only thing that it serves is a conversation piece, is an attention grabber. So that's why I think it's an op.
To do content moderation at all. But the most important thing is that it protects small platforms like Blue Sky, Reddit, non-profit-driven platforms from massive lawsuits and being censored out of existence, basically. It allows for anonymity online. It allows for you to write a negative review online. Go watch my video. It's coming out on my main channel, my mini series about Section 230. But TLDR, Section 230, we want to ride and die for Section 230. If you guys notice, this is my merch that I'm launching soon. Wait, do I have it on today? I think I have it on like every day. Hold on. Do I? Yes. Okay, this is my Section 230 necklace that I'm going to be launching soon, that the proceeds are going to go to a good cause. I just haven't figured out what yet. But basically, I wear this every day. It is my Section 230 necklace. We want to protect Section 230. It is crucial. Not Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon-Levitt and the Heritage Foundation and these other groups, he's aligned himself with these super right-wing groups, and he showed up on the Hill yesterday, and he's arguing against Section 230, and he's trying to claim that it's somehow cracking down on big tech, which is ironic because no one has boosted Section 230 reform more than big tech, and we'll get into that. So let's listen to what he has to say, which is not very long.
Section 230, what it does, Section 230, if you don't know and you're watching, Section 230, what it does is basically says that a platform on the internet can't be held liable for the content that it hosts. And we know what happens when we let these...
Yeah, that's good, by the way. Yeah, that's good. We don't want the platforms on the internet held liable for what we post. We want the people that post stuff to be held liable for what they post. Hello, if you make the platform liable for everything somebody posts.
Doing tricks on Section 230. Doing tricks on Section. White dudes for Harris. Okay, that's it. Yeah, my guy is CIA, bro. I'm kidding. Why is he hit with the piss filter? I thought I'm the only one who gets to use the piss filter. Oh wait, we had this. Can I have like more on here, more photos on here, and some shit. I have more photos on here of people. I can rate these guys. Do you want me to do this instead of biting on the op? I'm just very bad with names. You gotta remind me who some of these people are. Jesus, some of these people don't even post. This is so old. Some of these pictures are just like historical figures. I don't think I've ever done a tier list on this fucking platform. We'll do it some other time. I need more motherfuckers on here. More motherfuckers on here? All I can say is that this guy goes on F. This guy on Twitch, though, S-class. He's ass, yeah? He's ass class. Dude, this is stupid because I'll just put everybody in A and S. Just put everybody on A and S. Like Vosh, obviously S. Hakeem, obviously F. Hassan, C. Noah, F. The program, D. Second thought, F. Ben Empanada, I don't know. Freda, F. Spooky Scary, F. Izdihar, Super F. Okay. GDF, C. Thought Slime, D. Lunaoi, D. Definitely F. Definitely D. Definitely A. Definitely B. Definitely F. Definitely F. Definitely A. Definitely F. Definitely F. Definitely D. Definitely... Wait. C. Definitely D. Definitely F. That's it. 100K to 100K, what range? I don't know. Maybe like over 100K. Over 100K subs. I need more of them, and then I'll take this seriously. Thanks for the great stream, Hugo. Time for me to go pick up my kids. It's always nice to have a chance to listen on the weekend rare from you. Appreciate all you do. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. I need Mike in here. I need more streamers in here. I need more streamers in here. I need more people that talk live, okay? Too many essayists. Too many essayists. Too many essayists. Too many essayists, so that's fucked up. I'm sorry. Better Panade, and I don't know. I don't know why I did that one. This platform is surprisingly well designed.
Guess what? We don't have encryption anymore. Guess what? If you post a message on Signal or you post a message to your group chat, suddenly
Did you see that? He texted me. Yeah, they texted me.
that platform is now legally liable for everything that you say. Suddenly they have to pre-screen every single thing that you post in your group chat or on your message board or on social media. They have to pre-screen it to make sure that they're not legally liable. So they're going to pre-screen absolutely everything you say with AI, by the way, to ensure that it basically doesn't offend the government or couldn't be offensive or critical of somebody in power, and that content is going to be pre-screened. And by the way, we can't have encryption. We can't have encryption anymore.
Who's the one on S? Vosh. He's very good at analyzing fictional worlds through a political lens. Like his recent piece on Goblin economy is very good. Google Vosh, thick-stacked goblins.
Because, again, these platforms are going to suddenly be legally liable. He's framing, oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind. He's framing this as a good thing. He's framing this as a good thing. I'm like literally going to jump out of him. I'm gonna lose my mind. Anyway, let's listen to him again. Okay.
That a platform on the internet can't be held liable for the content that it hosts. And we know what happens when we let these engagement optimization algorithms be the lens that we see the world through. We get a mental health crisis.
Okay, first of all, we don't get a mental health crisis. Once again, he's promoting the Jonathan Haidt nonsense BS. We know that actually the causes of youth mental health are much more tied to economic conditions and all of this other stuff that, we're not doing anything to fix: gun control, rampant COVID infections, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are so many things causing mental health issues in America, not just in young people, by the way, but Americans. The fact that we're living under this late capitalist hellscape. And then what the heck is he talking about with algorithms? Like, okay, yeah, they're predatory algorithms. Guess why these social media companies can target you with predatory algorithms? Because they're harvesting massive amounts of data. They're harvesting massive amounts of data. And by the way, what's going to help them harvest even more data? The same surveillance.
Of course, Gabriel, I don't mind. What the fuck? Just please make sure, I trust you in particular, but make sure you vet the links.
Laws that you're pushing. What? Like, what is he even? This man is the most uneducated. Like, what is he even talking about? Okay, let's let him continue.
It's likely a psyop,
Especially
like no
amongst
joke.
young people, we get a rise in extremism and a rise in conspiracy theories.
Yeah, we have a rise. First of all, to frame it as if we have a rise in conspiracy theories now is very funny, because if you go back 100 years, most people had no access to legitimate information and believed in significantly more conspiracy theories than now. Even now, I don't really like the term conspiracy theory, because I think sometimes it's weaponized for, like, again, to like...
DJ Sake. Thank you, baby. That's a great name, bro. DJ Sake Bomb is fucking sick. By the way, is there like a Jaeger bomb version of sake? Can I do sake and like a drop it in a thing?
Silence people that are criticizing like the New York Times coverage of Gaza, or like basically criticizing people in power.
She's a great fucking point. That's what she has.
So I don't love that, but it's also just like this idea that we have
with
this
beer. Yeah. Sake bombs with beer. Yeah.
Okay, it's sake bomb time. All right.
Oh my God, this guy, Tipsy Bartender, fucking his voice is insane. He hates his microphone.
Get started. So we have our little sake, and we pour it into our vessel. This is actually hot sake that we're using. So we can cover it up with saran wrap, and we can put that in some water that's hot, not boiling water. We're not on the stove. Water that was boiled and just sitting there. You put it in. That's how you heat it up. So we fill our rocks glass with Japanese beer. Fill up our little shot glass with some.
I would need like 1 million of these.
Hot sake, put some chopsticks on there. It's better if you use
I would need like 1 million of these to get drunk. I'm sorry.
flat chopsticks. These are round ones, so it takes a little bit more skill to balance. Okay, and then you beat on the table. Here's how you beat, though. You go each Nissan bomb, sake bomb. Okay, say something like that.
Nissan sake bomb. I feel racist.
Beat as you
I
beat
feel
on.
so seen. Absolutely. When I see a good Twitch name of a subscriber, I react.
The table, it falls in, and then you drink his shot. Okay, drink responsibly. I know this is a chugging shot, but just drink responsibly.
Thank you, Tipsy Bartender. Does he still post? I actually learned about quite a few drinks from this fucking gentleman. He stopped kind of probably on a different platform. Probably killing it over on TikTok. Tipsy Bartender. Tipsy Bartender. Goofy Juice. Christmas Sangria. I just make a fucking mess. That just means 1, 2, 3 sake, okay? I like sake.